Hello Libra, and welcome to a very special 2-month forecast. We're going to be taking a look at the months of July and August, which is going to give you plenty to plan ahead with, and so I hope you enjoy this. My name, of course, is Nicholas Ashbaugh. We have Apollo behind us taking a nap, and we have a lot to talk about, so let's get straight into your channeled messages. As I was meditating on your sign, what came through was a beautiful mountain range, and I really felt that energy of like earth and stone and something that was very, very solid. So the first message is it feels like this is a great period of time to create some stability in your life and to also take an idea, a goal, a passion, and really bring it into the physical realm. And as an air sign, a lot of times there can be these things that are floating around as possibilities and focal points, but they're not actually getting grounded. So this is a month to breathe life into something and to bring it into the physical plane. The mountain itself reminds me of, like, in different decks, it's sometimes like the Ten of Pentacles, the Ten of Wands, where someone is starting to climb up a mountain, and usually they're like 3/4 of the way to the top, but they're a little bit exhausted. So I would love for you to not get discouraged, because the feeling that I got is that something is so much closer than you might imagine. Do, however, take a moment and, take a break. Get some perspective. There's no rush to get to the finish line, but at this point, you are so close to achieving something that it's important to finish what you've started. And doing things in your life that would make you feel more grounded, whether it's being surrounded by friends, doing some sort of an activity that's just fun, just because, these sorts of things are going to make that sort of gentle ascent to the top of the mountain well worth it and totally manageable. All right, so we're going to shuffle the cards now, again, looking at 2 months, July and August, giving you everything that you need to succeed. Let's get started. Take a moment, please, and close your eyes. I'd like you to imagine that you're tracing a circle of light around your body. And as you do this, let's go ahead and breathe in, imagining that you're breathing some of that protective light into your body. Especially send some of that into the solar plexus as you're inhaling, because I'm feeling a little bit of an activation there. And then on the exhale, let go of anything that you might be holding on to, thoughts, fears, expectations, and just let it go. Be present. Let's welcome in angels, spirit guides, and ascended masters as well, and begin. This is going to be a slightly different spread today, so I'll walk through what everything means. Let me just go ahead and get all of the cards pulled first. All right, we're going to start with the catalyst, and then I'll walk you through the spread. We have movement coming through here for your catalyst, and the card was reversed. There's a couple of nuances with this. First of all, you're being asked to be more flexible, possibly move in a direction that was unexpected, and your flexibility will pay off. Now, the fact that it was reversed could also represent a need to take a step back, fix or address something, and then move forward. So a couple of steps forward, 1 step back, still progress, but that can be a little frustrating nonetheless. Also, for some of you, there may be an inability to go in the direction that you want right now. So wherever there's an opening, put the focus there, and know that sometimes a block, a no, a rejection really is just the universe saying, this isn't good enough for you. You're not quite ready for this. You can get an upgrade. There's something better. So really trusting in the flow as we kind of look at someone flowing through yoga here, and knowing that you're still moving in a good direction or in the right direction. It just may not be the expected direction. So take time to look around and see where you can more easily flow or move or make progress. That's message number 1. Let's take a look at the spread and see how this is all aligned today. Okay, so just so you can get familiarized with it, this is going to be all of the energy of July. This will be August. We have karma and we have the destiny card here. past, present, future. This is going to be a connector and this is a block. And these are like highlights, but we'll walk through them as we go, one card at a time, beginning with the Page of Cups, which represents karma, something that you've been building up to in this moment. So the reversal of this Page of Cups, particularly as illustrated here, is this feeling of being closed in. I'm looking at this little koi fish or goldfish, and it's in that little bag. It wants to swim freely. It wants to move in a different direction, but it's stifled a bit. So it does feel like for some of you, you could have even possibly like painted yourself into a corner. Sometimes when you do a great job at something, people want to keep you in that space or that spot, and it feels like you want to move up, move on, or express or explore something new. So listen to your heart and find places in your life where you will be recognized or embraced for that. Also, we're seeing the heart want to have more creative energy. So whether this is maybe taking a class just for fun, like in painting, or learning something new where you can dance or express yourself, that's one thing. Relationship energy also coming through and wanting to take more of a center stage. The karma is breaking free. Energetically, it's been suppressed or it's been pulled back a little bit or pushed in a direction that doesn't feel right. This month, the first of the two, July, is about liberation. But ostensibly, the 60-day period is going to be about breaking free and letting loose and exploring a little bit. Page of Cups in reverse. Before you can receive, you have to get rid of stuff that doesn't serve or suit your highest good. And so there may be some healing to do. There could also be a need in this period of time to have better boundaries. So Libra, we know that a lot of times people will come to you and just talk because you're a good listener, because you're good at weighing things out. This month, make sure that you have the necessary boundaries to give yourself the time that you need to be happy and to feel supported, okay? So that's your karma. Let's take a look at the past influences for the month of July. Nine of Wands. There's a lot going on. Here's the cool thing. The Nine of Wands is a card of perseverance. The fact that it is reversed could mean that you are so sort of like mired down in the details, and this does a great job of showing it, that you can't see the forest for the trees. You only see what's in front of you, or you only see what's blocking you from getting to where you want to be. So this is the mountain metaphor that I saw. I think it's time to take a step back and get a higher perspective and rest a little bit. What can happen with the Nine of Wands, we can see him holding his head here. Usually there's a bandage, but they're still showing like the sensitivity to that space. Headaches, pressure headaches in particular, inability to concentrate, or just frustration. And these are natural and normal things, especially when you're doing a lot. And it doesn't have to just be work. It could be juggling many things, especially for those of you that are stay-at-home dad or mom, where you have to take care of your family plus your own stuff. Maybe you're also working from home and juggling all of that. It just gets a little bit crazy at some points, right? Or for the entrepreneurs out there or the students, really anybody who is just feeling overwhelmed. I feel you. I see you. It's all right here. And I was feeling a little bit of an activation in the solar plexus. This is about finding that fire in the belly and that power and saying, no, I don't want to do this, or I need some help with this. And then pushing where it makes sense. Don't put yourself last in the equation, and don't get so lost in the small stuff that you have lost sight of the fact of how far you've come, because the Nine of Wands is nearly there. And I mentioned I was getting a little bit of that Ten of Wands energy, so I feel like you're really, really close. We can already see it here. So try your best if you can to keep that perspective, and that's going to really help you make it to the finish line. Let's look at what's presenting itself here in the month of July. So for the present energy in July, we have a multifaceted Seven of Cups. First of all, this is the card of daydreaming and thinking about the possibilities, which can be very fun. It can be, oh, what about this? What about that? It can also be a little overwhelming. When you look at her illustration, she's like, I don't know what to do. So if you find that you are being presented with too many options or ambiguous guidance, then speak up. This card is unafraid of raising their hand and saying, I'm not certain what that means, or I'd like some clarity here, or why do you want to do this and not this? So being inquisitive is your best friend. researching is really good during this period. But limiting your scope and making sure that you're not going in too many directions at once is also essential. So find that perfect balance, okay? And I think that starting each day off with a set of priorities and expectations will be helpful and will help you avoid from getting into this sort of overwhelmed or confounded energy. I like to also mention, this was something I used to say to my mom who's in spirit, but I would say, remember, always look up or look around, because sometimes we can get inspired or informed by what's going on around us. And I think that's a nice way to cope with this, which is very much in the weeds, like looking at just what's in front of him, and she's looking up and looking out. So we need to find the happy medium between the two of these. So coming up for air, I just talked to the previous sign about that. I think will help you too, getting that bird's eye perspective and not overthinking. Trust your instincts. All right, let's look at the future leaning energy of the month of July. We have the Ace of Wands. Whatever challenges are initially kicking off the month, whether it's that feeling of having so much in front of you that it feels like you're never going to be done, or questioning your own instincts, it dissipates by the third or fourth week of the month. Then we have a very clear path, and it feels like you're focusing on one thing. So I get this decisive energy. The grounded energy that I was hoping for feels like it's starting to take place. And then this represents growth. It's a light bulb moment in your mind. Things are starting to clarify. The torch or spotlight is shining in the direction that it needs to. If you need help, ask. This is a great card for gaining support. If you want to share an idea with someone, this is a really good time to do so. If you need someone to edit or respond to something, by the middle to end of the month, you're perfectly primed for all of that. In passion and relationships, it's also going to be much easier to make connections. And this is like a gigantic plug that you can put in a receptacle. It just feels like things are going to come together by the latter part of July. So don't give up. This is basically what I see. There's some emotional energy that you're bringing into the month that could make you feel overwhelmed. One step, one day, one breath at a time, taking a little bit of time between all of this busy work to get a higher perspective. And then while you're doing that, you might get some new insights. One of these will carry over and be the main focus that you're probably going to carry into the next month, which we'll look at. But I'm feeling this sense of decisiveness and clarity by month's end. The takeaway for the first 30 days for July is what we see here, 10 of Pentacles. And I kind of said that when I was talking. I wanted to say 10 of Wands, but sometimes what needs to come through comes through. 10 of Pentacles is ideal, actually. It represents the ability to network, which we see here. There could be significant progress made in a relationship. Oftentimes this is marriage, signing of a contract, gatherings, reunions, things of that nature. This is also showing me that whatever you wanted to finish, you can finish. And we're seeing a resource-oriented card here. So if you need some help or support, you have exactly what you're looking for. And I mentioned if you're trying to pitch a project or idea, this represents buy-in. So this is the idea, and this is more than enough support. It's also encouragement to lean into your support system or to build one if you don't have one. I love that they chose to make the pentacles like these little luminaries at the top. So I feel really like things are going to start to light up. And if you've been struggling in the money or resource area of your life, we'll look at it a little bit later, but it does feel like by the end of July, you can catch your breath at the very least and maybe start to see some progress and some movement in the right direction. The only potential block at this point is emotions. We're going to have a bigger one that we'll talk about in a second. But first things first, let's see how July and August are connected. So I have a connection card to help us see how to bridge this gap, and in this case, what to avoid. So burnout is what I'm picking up on, Libra, for some of you, or some health challenges. And the two are not mutually exclusive. It can be one leading into another. So let's focus on self-care first. So I know that there may be this inclination to just like push forward, especially if you've got something that you're excited about and making traction on, but slow and steady wins the race. Make sure that you're getting ample rest, ample exercise, and you're eating well. Basically everything that your body needs to feel supported. Don't be afraid of failure. The Ten of Swords can be a worst case scenario that we kind of build up like, well, What if I fail? What if this doesn't work? Well, what if the flip side is true? What if it's more of the 10 of Pentacles than the 10 of Swords? So release fear, take care of your health, avoid making a decision or having an important conversation in an elevated emotional state, because this can also just be short temper. And then, of course, if there are any sort of chronic pain or fatigue issues, better to deal with it now than to wait. So the connection, the thing that's going to help you is actually to prioritize self-care, okay? The potential block here is around money. And you wouldn't think that money would kind of constitute a block, but here are some ways where that might exist. If you focus solely on where the biggest bottom line is, or where the money is, and it's the only deciding factor, it could block you from another point of view. Sometimes what is most profitable isn't always best. Weighing the sort of, this is more like if you're looking at jobs, for instance, there might be a couple options in front of you. The highest paying isn't always the best match. In relationships, same sort of thing. Wheel of Fortune is a focus on sort of the material, and this is saying to go deeper. So don't let the material or the shiny object in the sky distract you from the true value, which is beneath the surface. We talked a little bit about this in the weekly collective. For some of you, you simply need and want to get a better handle on your money. And that could be a legitimate block. Not enough finances to move forward. Not enough comfort in that sort of area of your life to ask a necessary question or move the needle in the direction that it needs to be moved. So this is a perfect time to learn more about your budget. Work with someone, a financial advisor, if you need advice on creating one. And if you don't know how to save or what the ramifications are of a loan or something like that, get all of that information first before signing on the dotted line, okay? As I said, I saw some positive movement here, so this may be less of a block than you think. It could just be a matter of understanding something a little bit more, and once you do, you're going to feel more comfortable in moving forward. All right, let's move into the month of August, starting with past influences for that month. As August kicks off, we have the Nine of Cups coming through, and this is a card that reminds you to have some fun, to make room for celebrations, whether it's a birthday, a wedding, or just celebrating life's little accomplishments, your sort of little milestones. This is absolutely what you should be leaning into. I mentioned a creative outlet could be really, really helpful in giving you that sense of being present, being grounded, kind of transmuting some of the energy of the Page of Cups in reversed. So here's one of the ways, something artistic, something creative. Now, the Nine of Cups is a heightened emotional card, and let's not forget what it's bookended by, I should say. We have the Ten of Swords and the Nine of Swords. So what I see here is sort of like peaks and valleys. That's kind of why I saw the mountain as well. So there may be a couple of challenges and one punctuated high here as we're looking at August. Take it easy. And there actually looks like there's a couple of highs too. So it's up and down, up and down. So the most important thing that you can do over the course of August is meditate, rest, and take the highs with the lows. We spend most of our lives either moving upward towards one of those peaks or coming down off of them. We don't spend a lot of time at the apex or at the sort of bottom of the hill. So they feel the most intense because they're the most different from the rest of the journey. Just try to keep in mind that there's ups and there's downs, just like a heartbeat. If we weren't feeling those ups and downs, we wouldn't be alive. So all of those things create context. Try to have some fun in the process. And as we look at the present energy, there's a little bit more stress going through this month, but there's a lot. I think it's because there's a lot at stake. We have World and Star and Ace of Cups energy that are going to come very shortly. You might just be worried, am I ready? Can I handle it? The short answer to this is yes, based on what I'm seeing. That doesn't negate how it feels to be in either 10 or 9 of Swords. And I really feel these are more stress related than anything, but there are some health ramifications of both. This is about losing sleep because of the stress. Typically, we see the person in a bedroom with the swords above them. We do see all of the swords pointed towards the crown chakra, and so it really is about finding ways to deal with the unknown. It's a very similar energy as what we saw in the previous month. It's basically your mind just going in too many directions. And the rest of the month is good. It's very similar. We just see it articulated in a different way. And I think it's because you're so close to something, to a dream coming true, to a major change happening, to like 2 or 3 great things in a row. So you owe it to yourself not to let this get in the way of the very next card. Stress management is key. So moving from present energy to future, this is getting really exciting here. So we have the World card coming through: expansion, growth, and the ability to go beyond expectations. Scorpio had a very similar energy, so you guys are in sync with that. Here's the thing with this. You have because yours is actually at the end of the 60-day period, you have a lot to look forward to. So if there's anything going on over the course of these 60 days, keep in mind that there is this great expansive opportunity that awaits, and allow that to kind of be like a carrot in front of you to get you through some of the peaks and valleys that we just talked about. When it comes to distribution, like for a company, this is about the ability for many people to be able to see and want to connect with it. This could represent moving up, moving out, moving on. This can be exposure in the best way, which is people taking note of what you bring to the equation. And it's the very last card in the major arcana. So you can and will complete something if you apply yourself, if you're ready to do that. And if you want to make a significant move in your life, we're seeing it come together in August. The desire is to make it happen sooner. The reality is don't force the connection. Don't make it. And it's so interesting because I call this card the connection. Don't force it. You're setting the groundwork here. It will naturally come together towards the end of August. Give everything time and space to move and trust the flow, okay? All right, let's take a look at the big takeaway for August, and then we'll move on to karma. So the takeaway is, emotionally, it feels a lot better towards the end of the month. There could be new love, a new opportunity, and something that's really exciting. Letting go is the hardest part sometimes, and that is a part of the World card. Right before it is judgment. Releasing, rising up, and closing one door, but quickly after that, something new opens up. Friendship, love, opportunity, and creativity. The freedom and the flow that you've been looking for seems like it finds its way to you. It just takes a little longer than you want. Now let's take a look at destiny. This is what all of this is building up to, and even going a little bit beyond that. So we have the star, and the star is what it's all about. This is a chance for you to find your sort of like superpower, your ability to really be in the flow. And for those of you that have been feeling like you were stifled a bit, which we saw twice, now it's being validated that it's okay to move in a new direction. You're going to be better prepared for it this time. And let's talk a little bit about the star card. I'm going to pull one that is slightly differently illustrated. Here's where you can lean into star power. You really want to be your authentic self. If you're in an environment that doesn't serve or suit that sort of higher self, then it might be time to move on. It's also about completely being in the flow, and we can see that here. Taking one step at a time, allowing yourself to just feel like there's no rush, there's no hurry, and there's no need to mute your light. So find a person, place, or energy or area where you can shine as brightly as possible, and we saw that here. You want to be in a group where you can feel just as bright and as light as everyone else, and you don't have to change or mute in order to be a part of that. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at health, wealth, and love next. Health, wealth, love. Okay. We're going to begin, of course, first with the energy around health, which is your mind, body, and spirit. And we have rest, and it is reversed, and it is completely aligned with the traditional Nine of Swords card. This is the answer to the sleeplessness. It's saying you really have to find a way possibly to get out of an environment that might be adding to the stress, whether it's work, relationship, or like the actual place that you're living, and find a place where you can breathe for a second and get that sense of clarity. There are a couple of cards in the minor arcana that could connect with this. The Four of Swords, where someone's completely at rest, and then the Nine of Swords, where they're lacking that. So we need to make sure that you're getting just enough and that you find a way to deal with what we see here. And again, the card that preceded that is quite helpful, Nine of Cups. All right, let's now talk through general health messages for this 60-day period. In the first month, it actually looks pretty manageable. I think that the main thing here is what you're already bringing into the equation. Perhaps, again, the tendency to listen to a lot of people, take on their stress. Maybe it's a parent, maybe it's your partner. There might also be some desires that you're not seeing movement on. And so the primary goal in the first month is actually around making sure that you have better boundaries, that if there's something that you want to do, that you put it into motion. The one thing that I'm picking up in July is focusing. It feels like there's almost too much and you're psyching yourself out. And there may be too much that you're trying to do in a given day. Do less, but do it better. Delegate, say no, and work smarter, not so hard, because we can avoid the burnout that I saw here as the connector. The other thing that I see here is the support of others can help with all of this. This is a very loving and supporting card. So finding your network if you don't have one, or leaning into your network if you do. In August, that's where it's a little bit more exacerbated, and it's right in between the two. So the end of July, the beginning of August, we start to see that there's a lot at stake, but you're going to be okay based on what I'm seeing. So don't overwork yourself, get a massage, go to a chiropractor. Acupuncture can also be the Ten of Swords. And then focus on quality and quantity of sleep. Talk to your doctor if you're having a difficult time going to sleep. There could also be chemical issues or sleep apnea. There's other things here. What you want to avoid during this period is overdoing it. The Nine of Cups is typically overdoing eating, drinking, sugar, caffeine, smoking, any of the vices. We want to avoid that. And otherwise, it's a fairly good spread here. So get the rest that you need, find some outlets for stress, lean on the support of others, or talk to a therapist if you need to, and then we see things moving in a really good direction. As we focus on wealth, we have a really interesting card here. It reads comfort, and if you notice, there's a cute little fur baby there, a small little cat. And for some of you, working in the office may no longer feel like the right match for you, and you may be thinking to yourself, I need something different. I need something better. And I totally understand that and support that. So in fact, right behind me is my little fur baby. Let's give him a pat on the head. Hey, buddy. Who's a good boy? Yes, I know. So just to kind of like reframe this, for some of you, you're reprioritizing things. And it's not just about the money, which we talked about earlier here with the Wheel of Fortune. Some of you are saying, I want to have more comfort, more time, more space to do the things that I want in my life. And that actually is worth maybe a different pay scale or something of that nature. Maybe some of you are just wanting to be closer to your children or to your pets. And I also understand that. Now, getting it more into the energy of where we're looking here, wealth can also represent, of course, your job, your money. And this is going to mean something different there, which could be to get out of your comfort zone, or that you've grown too complacent in something that you're spending time in. So let's break it down, and I'll walk you through it. If you are currently employed, here's what I see. Karmically speaking, a little bit of dissatisfaction. Energetically, over this 2-month period, a potential for burnout. So let's be mindful of that. The frustration is somewhere between upward mobility, the movement card, compensation, and stress management. There's just a lot going on. I will say this, there's a big silver lining. You have the capacity this month for some major, actually not this month, but the month ahead as we look at August in particular. You could get recognized. You could get put into a position that really allows you to shine, but we have to look over and past that inner saboteur. So 2 months down the line, I see some great stuff coming, but health and stress management potentially standing in the way. The first month, looking in July, it feels like it's really important for you to not get distracted, to work smarter, and to start to have some better habits and ways to deal with stress and emotions. That's a common theme over 2 months. You will be fine towards the end of this, but that's the only thing that could delay some of the, it feels like overdue movement, okay? There might be some environmental stuff going on too, where, especially for those of you in a traditional office environment, it could be some negativity. It could just be some arguing, and you want to try to rise above that if possible, okay? Moving onward to entrepreneurs. Definitely some stress and burnout here. It feels like for many of you, there's too much work that you're carrying and doing yourself. If you have the monetary sort of net to make it happen, now is the time to hire. If you can't do it, I understand, but you'll have to sort of delegate things to yourself in a way that's more manageable. Assuming that you have a small team, I feel like communication can be improved. You need to do less of this sort of day-to-day work and delegate that. Be clear in communication and focus on ideation. You should be coming up with the next thing for a month or 2 or 3 down the line. I see that you and or your company are headed in a good direction. Some of you may be deciding to sell. The 10 of Pentacles and the World could be someone purchasing it, or you saying it's not worth the stress anymore, but I need to make sure that I get what I've put into it, and absolutely do that. If you push through this slight challenge here that's somewhere between the end of July and the beginning of August, it pays off. And I do think you're going to be happy at the end of this experience, but you need to do some things that create comfort, that take away some of the confusion or the stress that you're dealing with, and that'll get you back into your power, okay? But you may have a chance to be interviewed or launch a product or have someone recognize you and want to work with you. Good stuff overall, okay? Looking at the job seekers out there, can you find work? It's who you know. As I say often, the network is where you're going to have the best chance. And I do see one opportunity opening up over the month of July, at least one good one. And as I kind of look at all of this together, I think the main thing to do coming to the interview is to be very clear on things. There might be some confusing language in the application or job description. Make sure that you sort that out with the recruiter or with the person that you're talking to. I do feel like you have a good chance to get it. Stay positive in the interview. Try not to be negative and come with questions. They're looking for someone who isn't emotionally charged. So if you're dealing with a lot, make sure that you take some time to meditate and get really clear mentally before stepping into this so you can put your best foot forward. Ask yourself how important forward momentum or upward momentum is, like moving up the ladder if you're looking for a corporate job. Now I'm seeing maybe 2 opportunities per month that are highlighting themselves. One that seems perfectly in alignment with your experience, kind of more like a lateral move, like what you did before, very similar. And there's one that's a little bit of a step up, and I kind of like the step up. It looks like it's a very good group of people. You should go to the place where you feel like you're part of the family. That's the sort of litmus test and the key to success. In the month afterwards, as we look at August, wow, there's a really big step up opportunity, but it comes with more strings. There's going to be some overtime or some additional pressure. So this one is less pressure and maybe exactly what you're looking for. Weigh it out. Ask yourself if you're going to be taken away from some of the comforts that we talked about here, because sometimes that isn't enough. You're not getting compensated enough. I see more exposure and I see more opportunity here, but I see that there's stress. It doesn't come with more money for nothing. So we see money and we see opportunity, but we see stress. Weigh it out. See if you're ready for that. And if not, then go for this. And if so, then just really make sure that you have good boundaries and you take care of yourself, because you can go either path. There's not a right or a wrong, but I want you to sit with it for a second and weigh the pros and cons and really look at overtime and all those other sort of benefits and expectations. Okay. And that's pretty much everything. It does feel like by the end of this 60-day period with the World and the Star, you should have landed something. These are pretty certain cards, and this is a celebratory card, and so is this. So this is an end to the stress. And you have at least a couple options coming forth. So do the one that feels like you have the best work-life balance. That's my takeaway on that. Students, overall pretty good. A common theme that I've been seeing as I look at the 2-month period is the first month feels like the most manageable for students. You're accomplishing most of what you need to. 9 of Wands, keep working hard. It's paying off. There may be some confusion in your goals, priorities, or the instructions that have been given to you by a boss, by a teacher or professor. So if that's happening for you, then raise your hand before you start an assignment so that you don't end up kind of like misinterpreting or misconstruing the instructions. Some health issues or some Some stress issues could pop up that could create a little bit of a pause, but ultimately you too are ending on a very high note as we look here at August. Some of you are looking to either travel abroad or maybe you're graduating and going for like another degree. Something about this is like expansive or extremely different as you move forward. And if there's someone that you're working with, again, a teacher or an advisor, and it just doesn't mesh, changing that up. Wherever you're headed next, I like it a lot better than whatever this is, okay? Let's move on to retirees. Retirees, health is a pretty central theme here that bridges the 2 months. So if there's an elective surgery, is kind of how this is reading, that you need to take care of, please do that sooner than later. I love the 9 of Cups and 10 of Pentacles. So it feels like some of you are starting to create something sacred that you can focus on. And maybe you're working a little bit more with volunteer work or special organizations. This could actually bring in new friendship or love if you're looking for it. At the very least, it could amp up your general happiness and satisfaction, okay? Personal development is coming through loud and clear, and it does feel like you get sort of like a stronger footing when it comes to your finances, which is very important when you're retired. Possibly even a part-time job or a side hustle. There's something coming in where it makes it easier for you to breathe if you want that, of course. Okay, let's look at love and relationships. Your card is titled The Map. And as we look at this, you can see that all the little pieces are kind of like thrown out there. It's like you're starting to piece it together, map it out. And when we're looking at relationships, this is interesting because I'm also seeing this kind of connect with a synchronicity. So for those especially that are looking for love, it's not about finding that person or them finding you. You're finding your path in life, which is connected to the star card. When you're authentic, when you're connected, you're naturally in the flow. When you're naturally in the flow, someone sees you and thinks, you're what I've been looking for. So this is an internal map that you're creating, a map to yourself. This is who I am. This is where I want to be. This is what I'm going to do to get there. And along the way, love is interspersed. There's also some movement and change going on as we kind of looked at with this. So let's see where relationships might be taking you. We'll start off with those in an existing relationship. So I really love the energy of July. The 10 of Pentacles shows me that you have a strong foundation upon which everything has been built. Karmically, energetically, one or both of you might be just feeling a lot of stress in your life right now. Talk to your partner about that. Ask them what's going on. I see passion. I see commitment. Those are 2 essential pieces to the equation. This stuff can be managed. Stress, confusion, and emotions. It's part of life. But I love these 2 cards. They're part of a strong relationship. Things get put to the test in the middle period here, right between July and August. So there could be a health issue. There could be an argument. It could be an argument about money. It could be an argument about moving or moving up in a job. And this is a map about like how can we work through this together. That's how the map is kind of like connecting to existing relationships. You both can level up in this. You both can get through it, but there might be an argument and some stress. Stay positive, stay loving. The love will pull you through it. But there is an argument, and I think it's important not to feed into that too much. Take a step back, take care of yourself and yourselves. And remember that there is commitment and love as big takeaways for both of these months. Single and looking, can you find someone? Absolutely, but it's probably going to be through travel or external exposure. So like work, school, external activities, extracurricular activities, and then we have love. It's more likely to come in August, and it could be an Aquarius, it could be someone from a different part of the world or a different circle of friends that you don't have right now. This is someone new. Additionally, there might be for those of you that know someone, like a friend of a friend, there might be something that pops up in July, but I'm seeing like the bigger growth in that happening in August, okay? For those that are single and happy, good for you. You have so much potential. We've talked about it a lot. Personal development and career development off the charts, an opportunity to travel, a chance to just really get self-realized with the Star and the Ace of Cups, getting from a place of stress or confusion to happiness and stability. That's really the way this is going. And for some of you, this is about deciding to move on, move up, move out, and it is going to serve and suit you well. All right, Now is your chance to ask one last card. It can be anything that you still need some advice on. Let's go ahead, give the cards a shuffle, and I'll see what the answer is. Actually, we have a volunteer card right there. The Chariot came through. So, Chariot in reverse. It's yes. However, this may be a period in time where you have to change trajectories. You're given permission here, especially if you were asking, should I try something different? The answer is yes. The only time I would say no is if you aren't ready emotionally to move forward, because in order for the Chariot to work, you have to be clear in the direction. The map that we just talked about, the GPS, is what leads this. So take some time to figure out what your next move is, what you want to do, how you want to get there. And I feel like you're going to make this happen. But the missing piece, Libra, is the turning of the key, the ignition. Everything's pulled together, but there's some sort of a delay. I feel like the big call to action this month is to turn the key, okay? And quickly looking at everything in front of us. July, networking, growth, taking an idea to the next level. Emotional self-care is important because if you don't do it, it's going to happen anyway, and you're going to have to deal with it between the 2 months. As we look at August, everything starts to blossom. This is why I do believe you can transmute the 10 and 9 of Swords, but stress and health could kind of pop up, percolate a little bit, but you will get past that. You will move on. There potentially is upward mobility when it comes to money this month. It's important to make sure that before signing on the dotted line or saying yes to anything that you really feel committed to it. That's everything, folks. If you enjoyed this, do me a favor. Brand new folks, please click the subscribe button. Even if you've watched for a long time and haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Everyone, hit the thumbs up and then leave a comment below and let me know what resonated most. You can follow me on social media so you never miss out on a future reading. It's always Nicholas Ashbaugh on all the major platforms. You can go to my website, nicholasashbaugh.com, for more ways to connect with me and for all official information. You can leave a comment with a sticker below to say thank you. You can also join as a member. All of these things help out more than you could imagine. So I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. And again, Apollo appreciates you, as do I. Thank you so much for being the best part of what I do here on YouTube. Wishing you all the best now and always. Take care.